He's riveted still.
Greetings and felicitations.
Hello, everyone. I'm so sorry for being so late. And for some reason, I misplaced my TOS intro. Where did that thing go? I think I might have gotten rid of it and getting ready for another show. So we won't have the TOS intro today. But today we're going to be talking about I'm anti-derivative. Hey, great to see you, Pop Culture Curator. I'm so sorry that I'm late.
Oh. No, don't apologize. It's fine. I have to reboot my computer really quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, okay. That's cool. Man, guys, I'm just so sorry I'm so late. I decided to take a nap, and that was a bad choice.
Well, at least you woke up.
I did wake up. This is Indefinite Lunch and Infinite Combinations, number 67. 76. Different number.
Oh, my stars.
Today
Did you wake up?
No, I'm still half asleep. We're reviewing the next original series episode in production order, and it's Patterns of Force. And I'm so happy to have you guys here with me today. Pop Culture Curator is rebooting his computer, but he's going to have Scanners on tonight on his channel. He's going to review that. That should be pretty cool. The movie Cronenberg, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then also follow ScottyR37 on Twitter. That's what he's promoting right now.
Sure.
Yeah. And I know they call it
Ecosian pig.
Still. Oh my god.
Is it an Ecosian pig or a Zion pig?
Zion
pig? Zion? Like the Matrix?
I think they meant like the Matrix. I never even made the Matrix connection. You're right. So, yeah, thank you everybody for being so patient. I had 7 people patient with me and a few more people realizing I'm on. Startup Poop is Cuber says, don't know much about history. The official song of most Hollywood writers when they write about anything to do with history.
True.
Yes, but this is a different planet, so they get an excuse, right? I don't know. Franco Walker says, change much to anything, and you are right. Startup Poop is Cuber says, I do enjoy this episode though, so I promise to be a gentle bear. So I'm gonna start the slides. They're just gonna go automatically because I got them in a little video. So if you need me to pause it for any reason, Scotty, let me know.
Sure.
It's just gonna go.
Absolutely.
Hello, Pop.
Hello. Good to see you all.
Yeah.
As long as you're okay, Jill, then I'm happy. I was just kind of a little concerned, but as long as you're fine, I'm fine.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm so sorry. That sucks. I'm so late.
It happens to everybody. I've done the same thing, so it's
but
totally
40
fine.
minutes, crazy. I'm
Well,
glad you guys were here.
Sounds like Mom needed it. So you got a kid you got to raise. So that happens.
Mhm.
You get exhausted sometimes.
I guess so. I don't know. I also have this weighted blanket that I shouldn't be using for naps.
Sounds like you hibernated.
I did.
Well, as long as you're okay, like Pop said.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you mentioned it, Uhura was kind of sleepy during this episode.
Well, she didn't get much to do anyway. We just see her a
True.
bit on the bridge. Voiceover work. And Kapla to Birdo Prey 5. I don't know if you were going to join us, but I'm sorry if I made you hang around when I was going to be this late. Very unprofessional of me. Franco Walker, hey. And also hello to Joseph Dredd.
Hello, everybody.
And so for reference to the production of these episodes, I read from the 365 book by Paul M. Block and Terry J. Erdman, just like I saw first on the Clobber Times channel when he and Raquel reviewed the original series. They reviewed all of them. And right now they're currently reviewing they're reviewing all of real Star Trek. So they're up to Voyager right now. And I'm kind of upset because I'm going to be out of town. And this weekend they're going to be reviewing Tuvix.
Ooh.
And which we did review on this channel, but I wanted to deal with them. Oh. Poopus Huber says lifts a bottle of spring water in tribute to John Gill, the dumbest historian ever. Yeah, right? That's my problem with this episode, but I haven't gotten there yet. Oh, this is one of the effects that was changed with the remaster.
Mm-hmm. And again, like just super jazzed that it isn't that much of an upgrade. Like it's not like the Death Star exploding. It's the same sort of strobe light explosion that we've seen in the past, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Oh, okay. And Pop Culture can't stay with us. Are you having to head out, Pop Culture Curator, right now?
I didn't know about the appointment until this morning. Yeah, it's local here, but apparently it's in about 2 hours. And
okay.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, well, if I would have started earlier, we would have gotten in a little more time with you. But anytime you have to go, let me know if
Okay.
you have to go. Let me know 10 minutes before you have to leave so you can tell us your review.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to start telling them to stop scheduling them on Tuesdays. I'm just going to put my foot down.
Well, and if you can't, that's okay too, because your health is the most important thing.
I know, but this is today and tomorrow my only appointments this week. So they just need to, because, well, I'm going to at least put a concerted effort into it. I'll put it that way.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. And hello to Oiler Greg. We'll see if he's still lurking. I hope you're still with us. And Joseph Dredd went to lunch. We were missing me, but I'm here now.
Hooray.
Franco Walker says, missing before the action started. The Kojians are primitive, warlike people. The other planet, Zayon, has relatively high technology. So the Zayons are the ones who came to the planet. They were the peaceful ones who came to the planet of the violent ones. And they had some trouble. And John Gill was supposed to just be watching, but then he was just like, let's start some fascism. Right?
Yeah, because they were efficient, I guess.
That's
that's very good reasoning.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if you've seen this car before, but when you see that particular hood ornament, don't adopt it.
Franco Walker says, grabbed by the UFOs? I've heard that could be painful. What? Oh, no, I'm good. Anyone got a deck of cards? Oh, man, Fizbin. You guys are cute. I'm just going through the chat for when I was missing. And so they're going on the planet in plain clothes, even though later on, McCoy's going to show up in a full dress uniform. So they could have just gone down there in disguise.
They don't know yet until they get there.
Oh, they don't? Oh, nope. Okay.
Yeah, it's when they get there, when they get there, like, what is this? Nazi Germany?
Okay, so, there you go. Okay, thank you for answering that for me, because that bothered me.
Because they were they're dressed like they were assuming that the villagers were dressed, but they were wrong.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good to go then. And hey, Darius, good to see you, and also hello to R2, the White.
Hello, everybody. A lot of
And
nice
at
people.
this, yeah. Yama's Queen Jess says Spock is shirtless. Yes, in this episode. And they tried to ask him to shave, and he was like, no. And so he didn't. And it's
really?
totally fine.
They're probably like, well, Bill shaves. I mean, why wouldn't you shave? No, thanks.
Not for him. Not for Leonard Nimoy.
Probably, I wasn't there obviously, but I'm guessing he didn't want to have an itchy chest when the hair starts growing back, because when you put a shirt on.
That makes sense.
Yeah. That any reason is a good reason. The irony here is a wake up with the jolt and quickly waddled to the computer, worried about being late, and Joe's grabbing extra C's. Yeah, exactly. And Startapoopa says I was a history major, and very few history professors talked about dates and events. And so, yeah, this episode, I don't know if they're not shying away from things. They're just going full head on into the racism here of the Zeons, calling them pigs.
Right, instead of Jews, I guess they're
Mhm.
kind of substitutes.
They are.
Jewish. Nothing
Just
derogatory
watching-
towards Jewish people. It was terrible what happened to them.
Of course. No. But that's what I would have liked from Kirk and Spock, a little bit of discomfort in having to behave this way, because they have to do it in order to pretend they are, in order to infiltrate.
Yes, they have to blend in.
Gorilla's Random Thought says, Jill, I would give you a bunch of shit about it, but I have done it also for cringe stock. And hello to Subspace Chatter. Good morning. Sorry I couldn't join today. Not your fault. Oh, okay. Fair enough. But I'm glad you're here in the chat, Bird. R2 the White says, Tuvix got some big shout outs in a recent Lower Decks episode.
I have not seen it.
I haven't seen past season 2 of that.
Yeah, I won't see it, so that makes 3 of us.
There you go.
Twix.
Frank Walker likes Twix. Yeah, this is weird because this episode uses footage from actual World War II.
Not now, Poop.
Franco Walker is a leftist. Oh, I'm sorry. What? Oh, because Franco Walker eats the left Twix. I almost thought Star Poopus was getting political, but it was about Twix. Yeah, hey, Gorilla.
Hello, Gorilla.
Gorilla says, hey, Jill, since you gave last night's Lost in Space a C, I'm giving this episode an F out of spite.
I had fun last night.
It was a C+. Hey, if it wasn't for the robot, I would have gone lower.
The robot really shined last night. I had a great time.
Yeah, me too. Gorilla says they're sending the Zions to Californian permanent nap time shower facilities. Yeah, well, thanks. Star Poopus Cuber says Gil has given them big screen technology. Arrest him. Oh, right. They're violating the Prime Directive and just like dumping all of it away. There was no skirting around. It wasn't just like, oh, we left a book here accidentally and they became mobsters, or we got stuck here and we have to play along. No, this is just bowling over all of that, just starting totalitarianism.
Yeah. A lot of this episode makes 0 to no sense.
Oh, yeah. And here's the 365 synopsis for this episode. Communications has ceased between the Federation and John Gill, the cultural observer they send to study the planet Echos. In attempting to find out what happened to Gill, who was once a professor at Starfleet Academy, the crew of the Enterprise learns that he conducted an unauthorized social experiment that went very badly. or much too well, depending on your point of view. John Gill applied the efficient model of Earth's Nazi Germany to echo's chaotic political structure. The result, a picture-perfect recreation of Hitler's regime, right down to plans for launching a final solution against the troublesome Zans. And Patterns of Force first aired on February 16th, 1968. It was written by John Meredith Lucas, who has been the showrunner since Gene L. Kuhn has sort of stepped aside. He's been helping with some scripts here and there. What's really unfortunate about this is that Paul Schneider wrote the first outline called Tomorrow the Universe, and he also wrote Balance of Terror and The Squire of Gotho, so I would have enjoyed just seeing his version of the script.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't get it.
When it is basically a cat and mouse tale of Kirk and Spock being captured for about 75% of the episode.
Oh, well, the same with
Yes.
a
piece of the action.
Yes, a piece of the action. Yes, thank you.
True.
Yeah, but a piece of the action was more fun because it's like, okay, we're just pretending to be mobsters here, and it's cute and
Yes.
funny. But there's nothing cute and funny about not genocide.
Right, at least they didn't turn it into a parody.
Yeah, right. They didn't.
But I do recommend. I do recommend the movie Top Secret. That's where you can parody them and be great and very funny at doing it.
Top Secret is a great movie. Yeah.
Top Secret. Okay.
One of the best,
out.
absolutely in the top three of
out.
comedies. Yeah, in top 3 of comedies of all time.
Okay, I'll write that down. Thank you. Right. Just insane. John Gill thinks this is a good idea.
Well, and it's John Gill implements the efficiency of the German state, but it is, what's his name? Melicon? He's the guy who pushes it up to full-on Nazi extermination kind of thing.
Well, yeah, right. But everybody else goes along with it too. So
yes.
It's not like you can't just say, there's just one bad guy here.
Well, that's what the episode attempts to do.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. And then it does sort of reflect upon itself at the end when they're on the bridge and saying absolute power can corrupt absolutely, and given that much control, you would take something that could work. Not that Nazi Germany could work, but in the context of this episode, what they're explaining.
That's what the historian thinks. He thinks Nazi Germany could work. That's what I couldn't get past. He really believes there was some kind of value in this. All right.
And yes, I agree, Gorilla. Sorry, I'm just addressing Gorilla's last chat. Yes, I agree, Gorilla.
Sub-Commander Tall says the second time we see Bart LaRue, voice of the Guardian Forever, actually on screen. Oh, right. Yes. Who does he play in this? He plays Malachi, the voiceover?
No, the Malachi, the bad, if I'm pronouncing it right. The bad guy who's got Gil under the influence of drugs, who's taken over.
Okay.
So, right. The one who sees his demise at the very end. Yes. Sorry, spoilers, guys.
No, that's okay. Spoil it away. I don't care.
Well, when you hear his voice, you're going to think, wait a minute, where have I heard that before? So, yeah, you'll recognize it. Add a little reverberation, and there you go.
There you go. Startup Poop's Keeper says, oh, looky, Dr. Severin is alive, and he had an ear job.
Poopus gets it. Yeah, from Way to Eden.
Oh.
He returned in season 3, yeah.
Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, we will be covering that one.
Can't wait for the music episode. Why was the crowd speaking German when everyone else speaks English? Oh, right.
Yeah,
universal translators.
Because they pulled actual World War II footage for this episode. Sub-Commander Tall says, seems like all it takes to be an Ecosian is a Nazi uniform. Otherwise, they seemed identical to the Zans. How did these people tell each other apart before the uniforms? That's a good
Excellent
point.
question.
So all the Zans have to do is dress differently. They just have to. Everybody has to just do what Kirk and Spock figured out to do as soon as they got to the planet, and
Yes.
things would have been just completely confusing.
Right,
And
very
they
convenient.
just
Just
yeah,
get some clothes.
you know what? Sub Commander Tall is describing the book. My favorite way to explain racism to children. It's called the Sneetches by Dr. Seuss, where there's these creatures who have stars on their bellies, and these other creatures who don't have stars on their bellies.
Yes, stars upon Mars. I'll be right back.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And this guy comes and he decides to put stars on the other bellies, and everybody gets a different amount of stars everywhere, and they all get so confused that they realize that fighting against each other didn't make any sense to begin with. And we will have a Star Trek episode like that later too in season 3.
Bella and Loki.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. Right. I am talking about that one. Let that be your last battlefield. Which will actually address the racism issue that this episode touches on, but they don't exactly address. They just display it. And then Captain Kirk gets some pink paint on him.
You didn't find this realistic flogging wounds?
Oh. But I do like the green, because I don't know what Vulcan blood should look like, so this looks good.
Well, this means they had to actually cover him from waist up with makeup. Mm-hmm. And normally it would just neck up.
Yeah, to get the copper complexion or complexion.
And that worked. They applied it evenly. Poopus says more bad history. Yahtzee Germany was a very inefficient state, and the Mustache Man made it that way deliberately so that one underling could amass enough power to threaten him. Yeah, you know what, Poopus, I believe that. That makes more sense.
Oh, the parallels then and now. Interesting.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Edge of Time. Oh, thank you for showing that, whoever showed it for me in the chat. Gorilla says Pop Top Secret wasn't a total parody. I mean, they did predict modern Olympic teams.
Yes, you'd have to see the movie to get the joke.
And there's always a 20-year gap in historical interest. There was a lot of interest in World War II in the 60s. Example, Catch-22. I like Catch-22. Slaughterhouse Five. Yeah. Sorry. Well, I haven't seen the movie. I've only read the book.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, there's a lot that's not in there because it's so out of this world. But I do recommend the movie.
I'll check it out. And Hogan's Heroes, etc. I've heard much about Hogan's Heroes, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, another good parody of this culture, I have to say. I'm trying to avoid the word. I'm sure it's probably okay, but yes, I recommend Hogan's Heroes as well.
I've said it.
Desilu.
Yeah, I've said it a few times, but I think as long as we don't go overboard, it should be fine.
And it was on the air. It was also Desilu production on the air, same time as this. So I'm sure that's where they got the uniforms.
Oh, really? That makes sense.
Yep.
And hello to Matt G. I'm so glad you're here, Pop Culture. Yamas Queen Jess says, "Is it just me, or does Kirk look a little bit like Hogan from Hogan?" Yes.
I haven't thought of that.
Sub Commander Tall says, just like in the 80s, there were a lot of interest in the 60s and in the 90s and in the 70s, etc., etc. Yeah, makes sense. And so this is 22 years, I suppose, after World War II. So that explains it.
Well, and again, being the production company and everything, this is a relatively cheap way to repurpose the military uniforms for television drama.
Mm-hmm. And Darius says, Nietzsche's get stitches and end up in deeches by Dr. Seuss. Hilarious. But Snortopoopa says all the actors who played the principal Germans in Hogan's Heroes were Jewish. And
Yes.
of course, it is important to know William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy are Jewish. And I believe that sometime during the production of this episode, Leonard Nimoy had to go to, because it was around Hanukkah, so he had to go to Hanukkah services while this is going on. And there were people around taking photos for the show, and he refused to have his photo taken in the uniform because he didn't want pictures of him in this uniform out
He
there.
wore the uniform to Hanukkah?
No.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I'm sorry.
I got to mix. If I mix those two stories together, I'm sorry.
Could have been me. It could have been me.
Edge of Time said, well, no, I think they were taking pictures, promotional pictures, and he didn't want any pictures of him in the uniform.
I see.
Edge of Time says, I'll see your space Yahtzees and raise you a cloned planetary leader with false memories in the style of Philip K. Dick. Or are they? I did not see that coming. And Matt G says, the clip where Spock says you'll make a very convincing Yahtzee is the clip Anna, that Star Wars girl, plays to intro EVS when he comes onto the stream. And so since you said it, I'll play it.
You should make a very convincing Nazi.
And when you said he comes onto the stream, you're not talking about William Shatner, are you? Sorry.
I mean, what's the question? What was the statement?
Well, the statement was something like an Anna Star Wars girl plays the clip when he comes onto the stream.
Oh yeah, I think that's what he means. I think when she has him as a guest.
William Shatner's been on her channel?
No, EVS. Ethan Van Sciver, YouTube.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
I'm sorry. What's up, Commander Tall? In music, this used to be the case. Yes, 20-year nostalgia. Yeah. And there you go. So, yeah, you're right. You're right, Pop. All the uniforms come from Paramount Costume Storage from World War II films.
Saved a lot of money.
Yeah. And there's some more from the book here. Let's read that. Strange as it seems, even the buildings that appear in movies and TV programs have stand-ins. Much of the action in Patterns of Force centers on two buildings that are part of the Ecosian Nazi headquarters complex. In reality, they're located on Earth, right in the middle of the Paramount lot in Hollywood. At the time of the episode was produced, they were known by the rather mundane names the Directors Building and the Producers Building. In front of the two buildings was a paved parking lot. Over the course of the episode, you can see the assorted tanks and government vehicles pulling in and parking. Located nearby was the famed Bronson Gate, which may be familiar to fans of the Sunset Boulevard. One time, the gate served as the main automotive entrance to the lot. But studios changed with shifts in management. Following Star Trek's cancellation, many of the buildings on the lot were rechristened with names that evoked the men and women who'd first made the studio famous. The Producers Building became the Lubitsch for Director Ernst Building, and the Directors Building was renamed Schulberg. Producer P.B. Schulberg was head of Paramount in the 1930s. The Bronson Gate was transformed into a pedestrian portal for Paramount employees, and the parking lot around the corner was torn up to create Producers Park, a tranquil, grassy oasis in the midst of administrative and production offices where employees can relax in the shade of graceful jacaranda trees. To misquote Joni Mitchell, it was perhaps one of the few times in history when someone unpaved a parking lot to put up a bit of paradise.
Probably a nice spot for them to have lunch.
Mm. And James Caserta says Shiva. Oh, wait, yes. And here's another. Here's something else from the book. I put them really close together. Prior to Star Trek, it's fair to say that fans of science fiction literature were predominantly male. Aficionados of science fiction movies and the rare sci-fi television show were similarly gendered. Then came Star Trek, and while males in the viewing audience likely turned in to see episodes written by well-known authors such as Theodore Sturgeon, Harlan Ellison, and Richard Matheson, and fess-up guys also to admire the sleek ships, futuristic hardware, and alien babes in revealing attire, women were surprisingly quick to pick up on the series. They liked the premise, the characters, and the depiction of strong friendships between the shipboard comrades in arms. They also liked the actors who played the male leads, as fan mail to the studio would attest. Just a second, I'm going to take a drink. Patterns of Force features the one and only time in Star Trek that Leonard Nimoy appears on camera, sans shirt. William Shatner already had doffed his tunic, or parts of his tunic, numerous times on the show. And he definitely had his admirers in the audience. But the sight of Spock semi-clothed triggered a different wave of female adulation, expressed in Star Trek fanzines, fan-produced publications devoted to a particular genre, TV series, or film. The vast majority of Star Trek fanzines are written, published, and read by women, which may explain the popularity of titles featuring artwork that utilizes Spock's shirtless appearance in Patterns of Force as an anatomical point of reference. So we just found the reason for this episode to exist. For just for that, it does. I added that last bit. Franco Walker says, I thought Jill was going to say she was going to take a nap. No, I did take a nap. No, yeah, I'm going to go take a nap real quick. I'll be right back.
Be right back.
I'll only take a few minutes. I'll only sleep through 40 minutes of the show. Hello, Daniel's Hot Topics. Hi, guys.
Hello, Daniel. Good to see you, sir.
Oh, he likes Patterns of Force. Hey, Daniel. Yeah, it is great to see you. So, okay, the guy they just met here, that's Isaac. Obviously, I accidentally said Isaac, but that's intentional, I think. It's just like the way that they say Zion is Zion, and someone else is going to be named Abram, which is like Abraham. Davbod, it's David. And Darius, if you turn it backwards, it's Sarah. And then there's somebody named Eneg, which is a joke for, well, Gene backwards. But he's coming up later. Just naming all of the different names. Oh, they already used the rubidium crystal to create the laser to break free. Right? Did they do that already?
No, not yet. They just now pulled that piece of metal out of the bed, and they're forming it. Spock's estimating the distance between the two tongues, and now they're going to go over to the light bulb and do their thing. There you go.
Oh, great. Okay, so he was just doing the math.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Sorry, guys, I just got a phone call. I'm going to have to step away.
Okay.
Okay, good luck, Scotty.
Oh,
I will hope to be back. I'll see you soon.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Great. So this is one of the jokes in the episode that I like.
And of course, Spock is in no hurry.
No, I know, and Kirk is under great stress. Well, he has to do it very precisely.
Yes, he does. He has to ponder.
You realize that my aim will be very crude. I don't care if you hit the broadside of a barn.
Right. Shouldn't have said that to Spock.
Captain, why should I aim at such
Why should I aim at such a structure?
structure? The clipping website didn't clip the whole thing. Great. I do enjoy this escape.
And of course, his aim is impeccable.
Yeah. And the headquarters of the Nazi Party in this episode are redecorated offices of Paramount Pictures during the 60s, including the building where Lucille Ball ran Desilu. And these buildings come back in other episodes like Assignment Earth and Brendan Circus. Oh, wait, also. Oh, that was a previous episode for us, but I think it's the episode in broadcast order that comes after this episode, even though we've already reviewed it because we reviewed.
Gotcha.
Oh, where was I in the chat here? An oasis, says James Caserta. Oh yeah, on the Paramount lot. They built one over the parking lot. That is backwards. I love that. Franco Walker says, I thought Jill was going to. Yep. Oh wait, that's where I was. R2 says the frequent parallel Earth episodes in TS are all about being able to save money, withstanding sets and existing costumes. Yes, sir. Great. And I don't mind that because they actually tried to explain it with the actual science of the theory behind it. What is it called? The law of something. There's a name for it.
Yes, I don't remember either, but yes, you're right.
Hmm. And Scotty R37 had to step away for a bed. He may be back, he may not. We'll see. Yamas Queen Jess says Spock's shirtlessness is what I remember the most about the episode. I was a younger teenager when I saw pictures of Spock from the episode. It is a memorable part for sure. Snortapoopas Cuber says they needed a Xeon stand-up comic named Melbrook. This is the worst bit of the episode for me, hence the B+.
I guess apparently due to the post-war German ban on Nazi-related imagery and paraphernalia, this was the only Star Trek episode that was not shown on German TV until the mid-90s, when these restrictions were gradually relaxed to allow for artistic expression. That makes sense. I guess they were a little embarrassed.
Yeah, the first and last appearance of subcutaneous transponders, they would have been handy in other episodes. Yeah, that makes sense for Germany because they have certain things they don't want to bring up. And they're able to steal uniforms again. And so they get to the laboratory. This is the SS laboratory where Kirk pickpockets the keys from the guard. We just saw that. And they manage to escape and retrieve their communicators. So there's 2 communicators, but they're all taken apart. So Spock has to figure out how to put them back together. Because clearly this is a bit like a piece of the action, but just a drama. So
yeah, it's very similar.
This planet is similar to that planet in that they're very good at imitating. And so you could see here why they would be disassembling it. Surely they're trying to backwards engineer it.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and George Takei isn't in this episode, so we got him missing again.
Yes, that's correct. Other effects. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, yes. So they're still in the uniforms again. That's no problem for them. Soropupus Cuber says they should have had people who did Mission Impossible do the signage in Galleries, the fake language, featured in many episodes of Mission Impossible. Atazen Perzanal only. I'm sure I butchered that. I've never seen that language before. Frankel Walker says my stereo has just developed speaker hum. Hopefully just a loose connection. Oh man, sorry about that. Get in the uniform and hide those ears again, because it's just a series of escaping and losing your uniform, finding your uniform, carrying Isaac out on a stretcher. That old gag.
Right, that old gag.
It's just. So then they go to the underground resistance here, which is the underground base is shot on the same location where they filmed Devil in the Dark.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. And then we meet Isaac's brother, Abram. And Isaac learns that his fiance was killed, because this episode does make it clear that extermination is happening.
Yes, but off camera, obviously, they're only allowed to show so much.
Yeah, they don't show it, but they talk about it. They talk about it over the speaker. He mourns his fiance. And James Caserta says, "You want Yahtzees? You got Yahtzees." Well, yeah, they did. Sarapupus says they used it a lot in Mission Impossible. They made up foreign-looking words that English speakers could understand. Oh, that's pretty clever. Rather than
phonetically, right?
Yeah. James Caserta. Yeah. Hey, James Caserta. How are you doing today? And so they're coming up with their little plan to infiltrate the meeting that's going to happen.
Yes, we have the underground revolution.
Yeah, and it seems like the Kojans are here, but it's It's Sarah, not Sarah, Darius, and
There's.
yeah, and she's actually with the Resistance. So this part of the episode is a little slow. James Caserta says the good and the bad, because they're still at the part where he's mourning his wife.
It may be a little slow, but I'll take it any day over subplots.
Oh, I guess, yeah, that's true. They don't distract you with any subplots in this episode.
Or drag down the show, yeah, which in my opinion, that's what subplots do. They dominate the script and the plot, and I don't know. I know I've said that before. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's a good point. If the I don't mind B stories if it has to do with the main story, but if it's completely disconnected, there's no point.
Yes, I agree.
James Caserta says sometimes very good is not worth it. And R2 says the description of his fiance's killing is brutal. Yeah. It's the Hogan's Heroes part of the episode, says Yams Queen Jess.
Yep. A lot of the sets too.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is what you meant by the Horde of the Devil in the Dark episode, the caves.
Oh yeah, this is that part. You're correct. Yeah, the caves that they made for that episode. But yeah, it's weird that they use the idea that Nazi Germany was efficient, because now that's pretty well known to not be the case, and I think that's what Snortopupus was saying earlier. So.
Well, when it comes to technology, I guess you could say they were efficient, but unfortunately, it was at the expense of a lot of lives.
Yeah. Right.
Because you have to remember, a lot of them we pulled over here to work on our rocket program and NASA.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's right. That's very true. So the UK censored this episode quite a bit, edited the episode with the scenes in which Kirk and Spock are getting whipped were cut down. So that's the part they didn't like. The cuts remained until 1992 to 1994.
Impact. That was rare in the 60s.
Hmm.
Do you have any notes on her?
No, do you?
Yes.
Please
Her
do.
name is the actress Laura Nolan, who plays Darius. Her costume originally did not have a swastika on it, and it was added right before filming. Nolan, whose parents fled Nazi Germany, was offended by this and stated that she would not have taken the role if she knew she would be wearing that. Nolan quit acting entirely after this episode.
Wow.
Yeah, I said her quite a bit, apparently.
No way. Just they weren't upfront with her about what she was going to do? That's not cool.
Yeah. The symbol on the... Well, was it that they weren't upfront, or she just didn't have the knowledge or lacked the knowledge because she read the script, I'm guessing?
Oh, yeah, if she read the script, she should know what's happening.
Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe she only read her lines. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's also a possibility. Makes sense. The AI show says episodes like a piece of the action were interesting because they took what normally would be done through time travel, like, say, the time tunnel, and base it on a planet instead. It's true. Then this is near history for this episode. Franco Walker says, wow, that's making a statement. Yeah, she did. The AI show says, therefore, you don't have to come up with a pseudoscientific premise to explain time travel. But, the AI show has more to say. That's great. And so they're all just figuring out that they're all on the same side. And so they're all going they're making a plan surrounding the speech that's coming up. That will be about the final solution. And they're going to infiltrate the headquarters with Darius and Isaac. R2, the White, says, my understanding of that story was that her costume was changed after the initial fitting.
Yes, it was just before filming, supposedly.
Oh. Zorapupus Cuber says the script wouldn't have described her costuming. She probably showed up for fitting the costume and had already signed the contract.
No, but the script mentions dialogue, and in the dialogue, they clearly mention what's going on.
Right, exactly. If you read the whole script, you know more or less what you're probably going to look like.
Uh-huh.
The AI show says you can just set your story up and move on. Oh, okay. Therefore, you don't have to come up with the pseudoscientific premise to explain time travel, but you can just set up your story and move on. Yes, I do appreciate when we don't have to time travel.
Gotcha.
The AI show says unless it was specifically noted in the script, she wouldn't have known. So I agree. Well, you know what? I actually do like time travel stories. It's just they do get complicated. Franco Walker says also her character outline would say she was in the resistance.
Well, I'm sure it had to say Nazi-like somewhere. And like I said, that word is thrown around all throughout the script.
It depends on how much stage direction was in that script, because at the beginning she is shown to be in the ceremony where she's given an award. So at the beginning you think that she's on the Akosian side.
Yes.
And at this point we realize she's part of the resistance. So
but there are a lot of actors though that only read their part of the script.
Mm-hmm. That's possible. That makes sense. And hello in the chat to Peter Writer, Captain Finity. How's the writing going? Melicon sentenced him to death. Melicon?
There we go. That's the guy's name. That's who did the voice of this Guardian City of Edge Forever.
Mm-hmm.
Which we will meet soon.
Great. But how could this have seemed right to John Gill? That's just the question that I say over and over about this episode. How could any of this have seemed right?
I know it's a stretch, isn't it? Especially because he knew about the Prime Directive.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that's his lament at the end of the episode. Oh, the Prime Directive was right all along. That's the only way to go. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Of all cultures to introduce to a primitive race, I think this would be the last one that you should choose.
Yeah, we figured that out a few episodes ago. You weren't paying attention.
See, I mean, that word right there, I mean, that word is in the script. That's what I'm talking about. So I don't understand. That's why I'm thinking maybe she only read her own lines.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That would follow for me. But to end your entire acting career, that's quite dramatic.
Yeah.
She was meant to be an actress. She should have continued. She had the drama for it.
Maybe she was ashamed because of her parents. Maybe it was devastating. It was hard to tell unless you're in that position.
That's true. I didn't think about it that way. The AI show says, I'm not surprised the actress objected to wearing National Socialist iconography. After all, in the 60s, you also had Hogan's Heroes debut and run on CBS, and its premise was highly controversial.
Yes. People said it would not be funny, it wouldn't last a season, and it was. It was very funny, very successful, and it lasted several seasons. And like mentioned previously, all the stars were Jewish, and many of them had been in concentration camps. So that showed that they had a good sense of humor.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there are sometimes when I take these screen caps where I accidentally press the start button and then the screen cap button, and you get to see my start button screen.
That's okay.
Sometimes I'll clip it. I'll take it out, but a lot of times it makes it in.
A little behind the scenes trivia never hurts anything.
And now that's a production note on the production of this podcast.
Yes.
I'm ready. I already want to get to the part where we see McCoy, but we're still back here.
I know he's a highlight
He's
of this
no one
episode.
but Melicon.
And you can tell by the guy's look on the right, he still doesn't trust them. So that's good that he's not being taken so easily. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Oh no. I was gonna look at a book on archive.org. These are the voyages, but it's unavailable because another patron is using it.
Oh, that's a shame.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I heard archive.org has been under attack lately.
I've heard about that too. It's a real shame because it's such a valuable service.
Yes, it's terrible.
And I hope that they win whatever fight that they're having to fight. Because we need them. Because they're obviously archiving the internet for us. It's not just a name. They literally do that.
Right.
They host the Wayback Machine.
Yeah, it's not them. It's the content that some people post on there is what's putting them in trouble or getting them in trouble.
That makes sense. If it's currently material that shouldn't be shared.
Copyrighted. Yeah, a lot of copyrighted stuff.
Right. But this is like a library. I think it should be fine. Oh, wait.
I agree.
I think maybe if I search for something, I can still look at this book.
I need to buy that book. It's supposed to be really good.
Yeah, I was looking to see for some more stuff that I didn't get to research earlier. And the AI show is asking, are you talking about the Internet Archive? Yes. Yes, we are. Okay, so they're finally heading back to the headquarters.
Wait a minute. Noe was seen without a shirt and sitting on the edge of forever as well, right?
Was he?
When they were changing clothes down in the basement after they stole the clothing.
You know what? You're probably right. Because I was thinking earlier, haven't I seen him without his shirt before?
Yeah,
but I couldn't think of what episode it was, so I didn't mention it. You're right. You must be right. I'll have to go back and see. But yeah, I did feel like I'd seen him like that before. Yes. Darius, thank you for that correction here. That's something that even the internet has wrong. Darius Munchausen says, I recently watched American Psycho on archive in 1080p with no commercials. Wow, that's great. James Caserta says, the historical documents. Right. They're very important. And Gorilla says, did you boot Scotty? No, he had to go. He just he was summoned to do something else.
Yes, he had a phone call.
Oh, we passed by a scene that I didn't really like too much, where Spock says, Captain, I'm beginning to understand why you... Oh, wait, have we gotten there yet? I don't know. But we get to a part where he says, I'm beginning to understand why you Earthmen enjoy gambling. No matter how carefully one computes the odds of success, there is still a certain exhilaration in the risk.
And I don't remember if we've gotten to that scene or not.
Oh. I don't know either, but it's something I have a note on. And Kirk says, we make Very good, Spock. We may make a human of you yet. And Spock says, I hope not. And I get what they were trying to do in this part of the scene, but I think it was very clunkily done. It's very fun for me, usually, when you take Spock and reveal layers of his human half. But because that's why it's funny in Trouble with Tribbles when he insists that they have no effect on him. But you can see that they really are having an effect. But
Absolutely.
this takes it a little bit too far. I think exhilaration is too strong of an emotion that Spock would have had under control. But that's just my opinion on that one. And there's something else here from the book. Let's read that. Due to post-World War II sanctions against the depictions of Nazi symbols and uniforms, Patterns of Force is one episode of Star Trek that was withheld from broadcast in Germany for many years. It aired for the first time in 1999, albeit late at night on a pay TV station. In other parts of the world, the show drew mixed reactions. Some lauded Roddenberry and the actors for approaching the subject matter at all in an era when Holocaust typically was not touched upon in public school curricula. Others criticized fictional character John Gill's premise that Hitler's Germany was the most efficient state Earth ever knew, a belief that leads him to transform the fractured civilization he finds on Echos into an alien version of the Third Reich. With predictable results. Everybody knew this is coming except
Yes.
efficient. I added that in. Efficient or not, what bonehead would think it was a good idea to teach fascism to a population already known to be antagonistic and warlike? Yes, thank you, Paula. I agree.
I don't know why, but I always imagine Gil, the guy who's subdued by medication. I'll put it that way.
Right.
He's unconscious all the time, and everything's being ran by people in the background. And this reminds me, 100% parallel with today's presidential administration.
Oh, yeah, let's not get too much into that, but yeah.
No, but it's very similar.
A puppet, yeah, I see what you're saying. I
Right.
see what you're saying. I see that. I don't want to get political on here, but I see it. The AI show says, oh, I see. I hope the archive does survive. They have interviews I have done on some talk shows and podcasts archived.
Oh, very cool.
I have a vested interest. Wow, yeah. That is so great that they're keeping your stuff on there. Edge of Time says, my Optimus Prime directive. And Grill's Random Thought says, I don't believe it. I think Jill banned him.
Huh?
He didn't do anything. He actually hadn't even said Nazi yet. Like, I've said it like 8 times, and he didn't. I don't even remember him saying it once yet. Hello, Sandra Feliciano.
Hello, Sandra.
Listening
Good to
as I
see you.
work
Hope you're
today.
well. Say hello to Raymond.
Sonopoopus Cuber says one problem with them using the German uniforms from the costume department is that the Adolf Hitler cuff titles on their sleeves. But they don't focus on them, so it's not obvious. Oh, really? Thank you for that production note, Snortopoopus. I love it when I get that kind of thing from the chat. You rock. Edge of Time says, what do you mean I'm not a burr? I have all the qualifications. Adorable dad joke there. Even though, of course, we do know that koalas are not bears. Sandra Feliciana says hello to Draco Walker and Snortopoopus Cuber. James Caserta says corrupt puppet. Yes, the historian John Gill in this episode becomes a corrupt puppet. But he did it to himself, really.
Yes, in that case, he did to himself. Well, actually, that's still more a parallel with it, but oh well. I digress.
Well, I don't know. Only if John Gale was also developing dementia or some other mental illness, which I wish they actually did include. If he was like actually going insane or otherwise losing his mind in some way, I could buy this a little bit better. Like if he's just a historian who's lost it, and so he's just projecting all of his knowledge onto the civilization without realizing what he's doing. I think I'd believe it a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Koalas are not birds. Says Startopupus. It's true. But they are cute. And they do have those little round ears. James Caserta says censoring Jill is a crime against humanity. Oh, hey! And here's a punk rock quote here, but for Star Trek. Captain Finity says, Starfleet, Uber Alice. And that's a reference to Dead Kennedys, California Uber Alice. And which is, of course, a song about the mayor. The governor, Jerry Brown. And
Yes.
they make they make references, parallel references to fascism in that song. It's pretty funny. Good one. Stupid computer made a mistake in the measurements. Hey, that I got distracted enough, and now we're here with McCoy. Yeah, so they're hiding in the cloakroom.
There's more costumes in it.
Yeah, and they learned from Jarrus that the transmission was traced. And here's the doctor. Dr. McCoy. And Snortopoopas Cuber says another nitpick. Gestapo officials tended to wear civilian clothing, not the black SS uniform. Hogan's Heroes and movies like Where Eagles Dare always get this wrong. Oh, wow.
Which is Hollywood.
Yeah, and PvP was telling me the other day that they show Canadian Mounties wearing their dress uniforms all the time, or he called it something else, but they're always wearing their uniform, their red uniforms, but really they don't wear them that much.
True.
And so, oh yeah, they also listened to the speech where we hear the Guardian of Forever, but it's not the Guardian of Forever. It's Melicon. And pledging to destroy Xeon, which they've already started doing. We've seen evidence of it throughout the episode. And James Caserta says, "Oh yeah, go ahead."
I queued up the one blooper. If you'll share my screen, there's one blooper from this episode.
Okay, thank you.
I was trying to show it while we had the scene, but the scene was just a couple minutes ago.
Okay, perfect.
I'm sure you'll recognize it. All right, here we go.
Hail the Fuhrer! Hail the Fuhrer! Hail the Fuhrer!
Think positively.
Spock to Enterprise. Spock to Enterprise. Come in, Enterprise. Enterprise, Lieutenant Uhura.
There we go.
Awesome.
It was a short one, but a good one.
Yeah. Oh, right. He got the communicator working because he had two of them, but he was able to get one to work.
Right. That's when he was beaming up to get McCoy. Yes.
Yes.
And of course, right. And they always had background voices standing in to do off-screen people. They're not going to have Michelle Nichols there on set. So
that makes sense.
Remember, I bet it's funny because it's similar to Wrath of Khan. Remember how Ricardo Montalbanse keep busted up because it was a nice, sweet lady that was reading. No, it was Kirk. Now, hold on. Was it Kirk that was... Anyway, it was a nice, sweet lady reading the other person's lines off screen, and they kept busting up and laughing. because they were supposed to be evil. And I think it was William Shatner laughing because it was a woman script reader who was reading Khan's lines. I don't know if you guys have heard that before or not, but I think that's why they were laughing, because it was they were expecting a different voice and they got a man's voice. You know, not only was it not a her, but it was a deep man's voice.
Right. If you hear a female voice, then you're just like, okay, I could pretend, but
A little easier, yes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a good story. I like that. Sort of Poopa's Cute Verse says, man, Ahura's voice got deep.
Well, yeah, apparently so.
Reality strikes. And Frankel Walker says, did you see the fashion of the 80s?
Oh, geez, it was outlandish. A lot of hair.
And Sort of Poopa's Cute Verse says, wait, are you telling me that Lord Thoth doesn't wear his Dudley Do-Right outfit all the time?
Who's that? Lord Thoth, I'm sorry.
He's
YouTuber?
he's a YouTube friend. Yeah, he
Okay.
shows up in chats. Sometimes on the panel, not often, but he's around. He's
Very
great.
cool.
I've gotta take a drink. I'm gonna cough.
I totally understand. I've been doing the same thing off and on here. Except I haven't had something to drink yet. That's what I do need to try to find time for. But I want to shout out and say hello to everybody in the chat. It's so good to see you all. And everybody, please congratulate Jill. She just crossed over the 500 sub mark. And that's part of what the subs, she's going to have a stream on Friday. We're going to be celebrating that. Please try to be there. I think it's going to be a blast.
Oh yes, definitely. So we're gonna have a party on Friday for that 500 subscribers. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. I didn't expect it this soon, but I had an extra boost going on the Mr. Brown Alliance channel, and I'm very grateful to him for that.
You definitely deserve it.
Thank you. And hello to Herc130. Captain Infinity says, oh yes, divisional nitpick. Too many costume departments use Gestapo and Waffen SS. And Einsat synonymously. I can't pronounce that. Which obviously they are not. Cha. James Caserta says, Lieutenant Hura here. New Time says, nothing like yummy umlaut for breakfast. Peter Ryder says, Herc, that missing F-35 anything to do with you? Taking staplers home from the office again. Age 130. And Snarl Poopa says, congratulations. And Snarl Poopa says, Lord Thoth is also a Mountie in real life.
Oh, very cool.
Yes, that's why on the Clobberin Times channel, he's chief of security. Frank Walker says, that was her real voice.
Maybe she had a few too many cigarettes that day or something.
R2, okay, so this is that puppet speech you were talking about earlier. Oh crap! I've been looking at slides without anybody seeing them. Crap.
It's okay.
I do that every time.
It's a forgivable offense.
There you go. I'm forgiven, according to pop culture, so I'll take it.
Absolutely.
Here we go. We still have time to see them all, so I'm not worried. R2 says that was fun watching those numbers go up for you on Sunday. They were, and it was such a roller coaster because I got to see them go up, then go down, and then go back up. They're still going up a little bit too today.
That's great.
And it's always good to get a bit of a buffer once you pass 100 threshold. So I got a 514 right now.
Oh, nice. Perfect.
It's great. Franco
I'm
says
glad
congrats.
I am glad they mentioned this because they should have been recognized, but Spock did mention it, saying, "I'm surprised they didn't recognize this." So that's good. They pointed it out right there on screen.
What did they point out? You can say words.
And there goes my phone again. I'm not gonna. Every time you hear my phone go off, that's spam. That's how bad it is here.
Oh.
Now I got sidetracked. I'm sorry.
That's okay. If you remember it, let me know.
Oh, okay.
Lord, that's name should be Odo then. I don't know what that
Oh
means.
no, that's it. When they came in, the guys with the gun, and they confronted Bones, Spock, and McCoy.
Yeah.
And then they gave him, of course, some excuse, and they fell for it. Kirk gave him some excuse, and they fell for it, and then the guards left. And Spock said, "I'm surprised they didn't recognize us." Because they had been confronted in an earlier scene, right? So that's what I was saying.
Exactly.
It's a good thing they pointed it out on screen rather than us, the audience, saying, "Hey, why did they recognize them?" So Kirk just brushed it off by saying it luck.
They just got lucky. James Caserta says Jill is monetized. But no, not really. Not yet. I did start the process, though.
How many hours does it take? Because isn't that the next step? It's so many hours?
Yeah, 3,000 hours. Is what you
okay.
need.
Thank you. Gotcha.
You're welcome.
I'm pretty sure I'm far away from that.
You'll get there. Herc 130 says, Peter, my stapler became conscious and attacked the F-35. What? Nemesis of Eden, hello.
Hail, Nemesis, good buddy. Good to see you. I can't wait to see you tonight.
It was either that or space communists. Oh, man.
They're not going to, the latter that you mentioned, they were definitely not going to do that because they were really big back then. This is during the Cold War.
That would have been really brave, though, if they did.
I know. They may not have let it be on the air, though, unless they couched it and hit it in the subtext.
It wouldn't. Yeah, it wouldn't have been able to be this direct. And so, have they snuck into the office yet? The broadcast booth?
No.
Gotten there yet? Not yet.
Not yet.
Go ahead.
In fact, that's what they're doing now.
Great. Yeah, right. So they're gonna pretend to just be having some promotional photos, and they're gonna knock these guys out. Hey, Nemesis says, hello, Pop. Always good to see you. I'm looking forward to tonight as well, buddy.
Same here. Yes, it's going to be a blast.
Mm-hmm. The AI show says, I see what you mean about the mix in uniforms. Kirk has a different officer's uniform than McCoy. Spock is obviously a trooper, probably a non-com.
Non-commissioned officer.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. What else I have here? And so this is the speech. They finally got up to the speech. So this is the Guardian of Forever? Is that what you were saying earlier?
Yes.
And his name was?
And also in my favorite episode, Way of Eden, not.
Oh, right. And so they catch up with the historian here. He's heavily drugged, so McCoy gives him more drugs.
More drugs.
I wish Scotty were here.
And if that doesn't work, give him even more drugs.
And
but one job to do, Gil. One job.
But McCoy does have his limits. He won't give him too many stimulants.
And when you think about it, it's interesting because McCoy refuses at one point, and then Kirk waits for him to leave and then gives it to him himself. So ethically, that might be a little questionable.
Yeah, I did see that. You're right. He does. Well, of course, it's definitely questionable because he dies.
It does, yeah, overdose. They don't use that word, but yes. Because basically, if they had more time, he could recover. He's just under the influence of some heavy drugs. But they don't have time. They've got to get the information out of him, which kills him.
Well, I guess the only explanation really that John has is that maybe he was trying to get rid of the xenophobic aspects of it, but it's just ridiculous. It's still
I
too
know.
crazy.
It's a stretch.
I still don't get it. But William Shatner seems to understand it more than I do. In Star Trek Memories, he talked to Chris Kresge, and he says, "It was fun to write a well-meaning Nazi, a guy for the right cause, completely effed everything up. You know, we started with the question, how the hell did Nazism get past the shits and the street gangs and take root among the basically decent people? How did sane, reasonable adults come to buy into this bullshit? The answer seems to be because it was efficient and because in a society beset by all kinds of problems, it may have seemed like a feasible necessity. So it becomes feasible and people take that leap." That's what William Shatner says about it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that makes sense.
No, yeah, it makes sense to.
From the point of view, I guess
Yeah, from
I
that
can
point of
see.
view.
Yeah, I can understand where he's coming from.
And that's the idea of the episode. So he understands it better than I do.
He was alive during World War II.
That's true, and it makes sense why he would have
He was an infant,
a better
and a Jew,
understanding of
right?
all of it.
And yeah, and being Jewish.
Mm-hmm. Jack Stafford says that guy looks so much like Castillo from yesterday's Enterprise. And
I wouldn't be surprised. They recycle the actors a lot.
R2 says, "I'm not Herbert." And Captain Finity says, "I pledge allegiance to Gavin Newsom. Sorry, too soon." What?
Governor of California.
Oh, okay, thank you.
The modern day equivalent of the man with the mustache.
Okay. Oh, then I wish I hadn't read that.
Oh.
Snartapoopus says, "I think John Gill died from lead poisoning."
Well, yeah, that's true too. They could have gotten him out of the way, but you're right. The bullets kind of exceeded his demise.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
That's
okay,
right.
Yeah, that's what he died from. Right. He did get shot.
That's right.
Right in the middle of his speech. He was talking.
And he wasn't even finished yet.
Mm. Nemesis says, "Crazy to think back in the day of uniforms and clearly identifiable ideologies." Lottery ticket time, says Gorilla. I was just reading William Shatner.
Good luck with that, Gorilla, and I'll take a 60-40 split.
Wes Cagle says, "Sorry I'm so late. Drama today. Was looking forward to this one as well." Well, you know what? I was so late too, Wes Cagle, so it's okay. I was 40 minutes late to my own show today.
Right, and good to see you anyway. I'm glad you could make it.
Mm-hmm. Captain Infinity says, "Sorry, I usually avoid modern politics. I thought I'd get a chuckle from Pops there." R2 says, "I've got to head out. Great chatting with you on Sunday. And congrats again, breaking 500 subs on your channel." Thank you, R2. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Good to see you. Take care.
Yeah, you were here for an hour and a half. That's awesome. I'll see you later. Possibly longer if you were waiting at the start.
And of course, he only has the ability to barely mumble responses.
Yeah, and that's what makes it difficult to discern exactly his reasoning. He took lessons from Earth history. Oh, I could borrow the book now. Let me borrow it. Yeah, that's where he calls it efficient, which
Yes.
is debatable. The director of this episode agreed that there was little subtlety in patterns of force. Vincent McEveety said. Oh, right, I never mentioned who was the director, so thank you, book. That's the director of this episode. He said, I didn't like it. To me, it was manufactured. There was nothing real about it. If you don't have something to hang on to, something to where, as a human being, you could say, that could have been me. If you don't have that value in a show, it's hardly worth the effort.
Interesting.
It doesn't matter if it's science fiction or a Western. You have to believe the character. And then you're touched. But I was a little bit embarrassed by that one. Not specifically of what I did or what I didn't do. But this show, I just felt didn't have it. There was nothing there to grab onto. I liked John Meredith Lucas, but I never felt John was a particularly good writer. He may have been a good producer, although outside of a few outstanding producers,
Oh.
Gene Roddenberry being one of them. Go ahead.
Well, and I was just thinking, whenever there's somebody to blame when it comes to writing, they blame the other person who wrote it. But when it's something to praise, it's Gene Roddenberry. I mean, every single time without an exception.
I'm okay with that. I never really figured out what a producer does. I know what he pretends.
Well, he gives orders, he oversees. But like even like on Internet Movie Database, Gene Roddenberry gets top billing under the writing.
Well, yeah, he created the show.
No, but I'm saying under writers. It says writer Gene Roddenberry and then John Meredith Lucas. When it was actually John Meredith Lucas and then Gene Roddenberry touched up the script.
Well, he is the writer. Yeah, he is the writer. John Meredith Lucas did write it. But
That's
the IMDb is messed up. IMDb should not be doing that.
I know.
You do not go to IMDb for your information.
What? They're not like as efficient as Wikipedia?
Oh my god. I mean, Memory Alpha is bad because it's filled with all of the new stuff and it gets all mixed up, but it's not as bad as IMDb.
Polluted, in other words.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's polluted. Yeah, but still Memory Alpha is useless because it's got false stuff mixed in with real Star Trek. But anyway, the director continues by saying John Mantley from Gunsmoke was a great producer, and Gene Roddenberry, and I was really blessed to have those two guys. Gene Roddenberry always had a purpose, and whatever he was doing, John Mantley was the same kind of producer. Now that's what a producer should be. That's his primary function, to make sure there's something to say, then help with the cast, the director, and all of that. But so many people who put the cloak on and go through all the motions with all the smoke screens and dialogue that they have, they don't come up with anything.
It's almost comical how many times they get caught in this episode. I mean, it's even more than in Piece of the Action.
Yeah, it is. It happens a bunch.
Right. This is the same guy walking in on him again for at least a third or fourth time. And he falls for the excuse once again.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is Jill muted again? Yeah, I was muted for a few seconds. Efficient, my furry white bum. Yeah, I agree with you, Snortopoopas. I'm with you on that.
Well, that's like I'll give you an example. Yet when a company hires somebody, they say they are a consultant. They say we want to save money, and the person, the consultant, says, "Okay, fire a bunch of people." You can say, "Well, yes, they're efficient, but that doesn't mean they're a good guy."
Yeah. Nemesis of Eden says, I do have a high school story that is somewhat applicable to this, but it's like 3 text boxes long. Wow.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd like to hear that sometime.
The great bird kept his fingers in mini pies.
Oh, yes.
True. Gene Roddenberry is Star Trek.
There's a lot of people that I would give credit to, not just one.
Oh, of course.
Honestly.
Yeah, no, Gene Roddenberry didn't create this alone.
No, he always said he did, but no, there's a lot
No,
of people who
he didn't. Well, I mean,
remember all the people he upset, and that's why he lost so many people of the crew.
yeah, exactly. But he did create it with other people: Dorothy
Yes.
Fontana, Gene Coon,
Gino
you can
Coon,
name
Joseph
everybody.
Pevney, yeah.
Oh yeah, and we recently lost Joseph Pevney. I mean, in terms of our watching and production of the show, he's no longer going to be director.
Right. Same with the writers. He pissed off a lot of writers and lost them.
And so Captain Finity says, wow, according to Telegraph UK, literally last week, a UK Norfolk-based 1940s festival was invaded by 10 men in Wharfen SS uniforms. Maybe they watched this episode and took it too far.
Yeah, that's not a smart move.
Oh. The AI show says producers don't give orders. They manage productions, primarily the line producer. In TV, you have the main executive producer, who is the showrunner.
Gotcha.
What's right versus what's necessary, says James Caserta. Okay, so this is the part where Kirk gives him the drug again to wake him up.
And I wonder, does Captain Kirk know what dosage? But oh well.
No. Even McCoy was saying, I'm working in the dark. This is dangerous.
It's like he just emptied that whole thing into him.
Yeah. He did. So this is the action part of the episode.
Right. Wake up, everybody. Time for the action.
I didn't fortunately I didn't have Scotty write down the action because he wouldn't have been here to talk about it. But there's a machine gun coming up. And well, Nemesis of Eden says, I can tell you tonight, Pop. I don't like hijacking other people's streams with my stuff. But if it's relevant to this episode, you can say it. But if it's not, never mind. You can tell Pop later.
Either way sounds good, Nemesis. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll probably still read it. And Paul Snyder tried to bury the hatchet. Oh, wait, what? What hatchet? Because Paul Snyder actually wrote another an outline, so he should be writing the script. I wish he did. I would have loved to see what he had to say. Man. He's a good guy, though. He tries to make things right, even though he was the one who was kind of wronged.
Well, he's full of regret. Now, a little late, but yes.
Mm-hmm.
Still picking on poor Spot.
Wow, the director really didn't like this episode.
Probably a sore spot, just like Dolan.
Yeah. And James Doohan, he only had one line in this episode, but he says about it, during this episode, all I could think about was how gullible the German people were. They were suckered into Hitler, and some of them loved it. There will always be those who appeal to the worst instincts in humanity.
Yeah, that definitely sounds very familiar, like modern day. Yeah, once again.
The AI show says, Gene Roddenberry always took credit for things in TOS. That's why he did the convention over the years.
I know it's an unpopular opinion, but it's very true.
Well, I'm not saying that he didn't like he was like to entertain that idea, but he never said anything bad about anybody. Also,
no, it wasn't bad. It's just it was always his idea. He invented everything, and he got the idea from a cousin in Iowa or something like that.
Oh man, that's not right. he watched.
No, it's not. But that's I know, among other things.
Among other things, yes. And I think that he watched Lost in Space to get ideas for what not to make Star Trek. I do like Lost in Space, but he wanted to make it not a kid not children's programming.
Right.
And Matt Smith says share Matt G rather. Matt Smith. What did I say that?
Yeah, now that you mentioned that makes me think that when you think about it, with the few episodes of Star Trek we do see with little kids in them, they're very irritating.
Oh. Yeah, well, we'll get to end the children's show lead.
Right, and we already had Miri, so yeah, we're kind of like in the middle between the two.
Bunk, bunk. Yep, I get it. Yeah, Matt G says to share this stream, that would be pretty cool. Nemesis of Eden says society is easily led to fear. We did social tests in my school. My teacher came in and just went on a tirade against one student, and the whole class stood silent. She sent him to the office, and
Was the student in on it? Was my question.
and I stood up and said it was wrong for her to treat him like that. No one else did, so I got sent to the office too. I stood outside listening to the teacher asking if anyone else wanted to go.
Good man,
Okay.
good man.
Okay, so in the episode, they just shot John Gill there.
Yes. And look who gets their comeuppance with surprise.
Yeah, right.
And it's funny because he had just achieved command pretty much and then lost it as soon as he got it.
Oh, you're right. This is a long story, Nemesis. I'll get to it in just a second because I think we're getting too close to the end of the episode. And yeah, so Melicon shoots John Gill, and Isaac in turn shoots Melicon, and that's what we just saw. Gil is dying here, and he tells the captain the prime directive is the right way to go. Okay, thank you for telling us what we already knew.
Yeah, well, we already knew. Thank you. After all these people have died, thank you, Gil.
He says there has been enough killing. Now we'll start. I don't want to read that the way that we're meant us to live. He plans to go on the airway with Darius to find a new way of life for both Ecosians and Xeons. Oh, okay, that's what is done after this. The Canadian flag with the swastika was certainly ahead of the curve, says Captain Kennedy. Oh.
I'm not familiar with that.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry for the Canadians who are losing certain freedoms. Nemesis of Eden. I wish Scotty were here for that. It would have been perfect. Because I'm sure he understands that. Nemesis of Eden says, and then after one example, no one did anything except to keep their heads down and remain silent.
Of course. Because they didn't want to be next, obviously.
Oh, right. Okay. No, but that's part of Nemesis' story. I'm going to read all your story in order.
Right, that's what's interesting. They wanted to see who would stand up and defend, who would speak up, versus who would just be subservient and just shut up and take it.
Yeah, but I want to do that story justice, so I'm going to save it for after the episode.
Okay.
And Snarpoop says to Nemesis, I had a social studies teacher do the same thing like that in high school. I was banished to Liberia for helping to organize a resistance.
Shame on you.
And AI Show says, actually, I could see Jonathan Harris doing an episode of Star Trek as a Dr. Smith character. That would work as a comedic episode.
Oh, I would love to see that.
You know what? You're right. He's no different, really, from Cyrano Jones or
Harry Mudd.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yep. It's a good thing he had immediate change of heart. I mean, they are running out of time.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So the Kosians and the Xeons are going to try to be peaceful now. So, hooray.
I just thought it was interesting. He got shot, and Captain Kirk said he's dead. And I just thought Bones would have stepped in just to examine him to be sure, or just to check on him. But I guess not. He stood there.
I guess, yeah. How often does McCoy actually verify these deaths?
Uh-huh.
That's a good point.
Now, didn't they mention earlier that their phasers had already been sent off to high command? When they found their communicators had been disassembled, They read that the communicators had been sent up to the head office or whatever.
Oh yeah, did they get their phasers back?
No.
No, they left their phasers. They left their phasers there.
Right, and it's a society that's known to reverse engineer. I mean, they are at least taking those communicators apart, so I would assume that.
Exactly. They left their communicators on the mobster planet. They left their phasers on the Nazi planet. Like,
yep.
What are they doing here? Come on.
Right. At least it wasn't McCoy's fault this time.
Yeah, right. Captain Finity says, that's why I didn't get the vaccine, simply because the government wanted me to have it. I'll read that in just a little bit. Franco Walker says, the fact that Gil was full of holes was a hint.
Well, I agree, but still, the doctor, you would think. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the Xeon said that they were peaceful, but they learned violence by coming to this planet. Libraria. That's amazing, Snorty. And so they're back on the ship. And yeah, Spock is confused as how they would make such a mistake. And so am I. I am confused too. I'm still confused.
Right, we don't get answers to everything in this episode.
No. But they do talk about how power corrupts again. They bring it back to that. And so that's true. That is a truth of life.
Reality, yes. I don't think it'll ever change, at least not anytime soon.
Kirk cuts them off. Gentlemen, we've just been through one civil war. Let's not start another. And yeah, so because you got to end on a laugh and go on your way. And I think I had another clip I didn't play earlier.
Okay.
Oh, this was when McCoy first showed up.
Well, send them down naked if you have to. Kirk out.
He was having trouble with his boots.
Yes. What was interesting is he said the computer made a mistake. So I guess they're able to fabricate clothing with the computer. Right?
Yeah, that's actually why I got that clip, to remind myself about that exact thing. That's pretty amazing. Anyway, I want to make sure you get to say your review before you have to go. I know you have an appointment, so please let us know what you think of this episode. What do you review it as?
Well, I actually like it. I'll give it an A-. I'm going to give it an A-. I know it hits a sore spot for many people, which I do understand. And now we probably wouldn't see an episode like this. I've said this with Lost in Space as well. They wouldn't make an episode like that now these days. But people were still healing. This is only 20 years, approximately 20 years, a little over 20 years after World War II ended. So it was very daring for them at the time to do this episode. And as we can see, that a lot of people behind the scenes, actors and crew, were upset, and it affected them personally. But I like the episode. It's one of my favorites. I remember even as watching a kid. And of course, at the same time, I was growing up watching Hogan's Heroes and some of the other shows. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, thank you for having me here, Jill.
You're welcome. Well, this is going to sound like last night. I do see the entertainment value a bit in this episode, but I give this one a C+. I had hoped throughout this episode that I'd gain a clear understanding of how this could have been possible. That John Gill had gone crazy or something had forced him into doing this, but
nope, he just decided on his own, apparently.
He just decided on his own. That was his slide. Yeah, he just did. But the Prime Directive is violated quite a bit. But to introduce this type of fascism that led to genocide on Earth as a means of bringing warring factions together still doesn't work for me. I wanted a reasoning that made more sense. A piece of the action occurred because they left a book behind. Captain Merrick in Bread and Circuses, he was left behind. So he folded himself into the society and tried to play along. He was just trying to fit in. But what happens here is just a flagrant attempt to become a dictator on this planet, only to become a puppet yourself. So I guess the road to hell is paved with good intentions, because I'm sure he didn't intend for exactly what happened on Earth to happen on this planet, but it did.
Yep, I totally agree.
And who else? Nobody is surprised except for John Gill. I don't know. They try to say that John Gill is nice and everything, but all I see is how he kind of.
Sorry, I'm on mute.
Okay, and so I don't rate it any. Oh wait, I'll mute you for you. Sorry.
Oops, I'm sorry. I did a spam call. I'm not kidding. It's like, geez.
Oh my god. I'm so sorry. Yeah,
no,
no,
I
that's
apologize.
great.
I thought I muted. I actually thought I had muted before I said the that word. I'm so sorry.
Okay. No, that's okay. No, actually I think I muted you perfectly. Nobody heard your word.
Okay, good.
No, but I will also share. Okay, so let's look at the remaster effects that are changed in this episode.
Ooh,
Since
okay.
we got plenty of time. Because I turned the slides into a video today, so I got through my slides in an efficient manner. I'm so glad I did that. I think it's something I'm gonna keep doing. It works out that way, because that way I don't have to click through it myself. Let's see. Let me share my screen. All right, so at 38 seconds we get the first one.
They actually have the whole episode posted. You have to fast forward.
Huh? Oh, not the whole episode. Just just the parts that were changed.
Okay. I don't know. I think I may like the original effect better.
I did too. I thought the original effect was very lovely.
A little more creative, yeah.
9.
CGI tends to make people lazy sometimes.
Mm-hmm. But Michael Okuda did a good job. Here's the other one.
I don't know. I like the pulsing in the original.
Yeah, me too. It sounds more of the time, which it should.
Very cool.
And there's our episode. Okay, so I'm gonna read Nemesis of Eden's chat. He has a story for us. Let's see. Where does it start? Right here. Society is easily led to fear. We did social tests in my school. My teacher came in and just went on a tirade against one student, and the whole class stood silent. She sent him to the office, and I stood up and said it was wrong for her to treat him like that. No one else did, so I got sent to the office too. I stood outside listening to the teacher ask if anyone else wanted to go to the office, and the whole class remained silent and did nothing. People are fearful for their own safety, and it only takes a few examples to be made for self-preservation to kick in, and you fall in line. We were reading Night by Elie Wiesel, a Holocaust survivor. Lots of people in class asked earlier that week, why didn't people just stand up for themselves? Or, I wouldn't let that happen. Then they, after one example, no one did anything except keep their heads down and remain silent.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the student that was in on it, no one else was even me. Wow. Yeah, that is an incredible, the scary experiment. That is true. Thank you, Nemesis, for sharing that.
Right, it was all in reaction to somebody asking, why did they just do something? Why didn't they fight back? Well, that's why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow, what a hands-on teacher you had.
Mm-hmm.
Franco Walker says the fact that Gil was full of holes was a hint. Okay. Yeah,
Yes,
right.
it was.
And so Jack Stafford says, even after the leader lectured them that the prime directive was the only way, they still didn't address the phasers. True enough. Yeah, that is what pop culture said. Captain Finnegan.
And I don't know if I said that before or after that post. Mm-hmm. Sorry about that. So I don't want anybody to think I was trying to copy them.
Oh, no. I just was saying great minds think alike,
Oh. I'll see if I can locate mine somewhere.
Captain Finnegan says, oh. I watched New Zealand become an apartheid police state in real time with my son. Maybe Star Trek helped me think for myself. Yeah, that would be really great. And there are lots of ways I think that Star Trek does help us in our real life that we don't understand. And this past week, Star Trek has helped me quite a bit in my real life in terms of giving me a little bit of comfort here and there.
Very cool.
Star Trek is a very powerful thing.
Very influential, yes.
McCoy? Ew.
Oh.
It's a Snort Poopus Keeper. Snort Poopus gives 1 to 2. I enjoyed this episode, but I gave it a B-. They could have told the story without the overt Nazi symbiology or without words like Zion, and Jewish-sounding names. You know what? I agree. And they could have still made those same parallels. But then they wouldn't have been able to use old props and uniforms and keep the tight budget.
Yes.
And so that was the goal. Fair enough. It's about as far from World War II as we are from 9/11 and still pretty fresh at the time. Oh, wow. Yeah, that would be like if the Orville did an episode on that. Interesting.
I remember after 9/11 is Hollywood pretty much agreed, okay, we're not going to do any movies or TV shows on it. And then that lasted about a year.
Right. Well, my son brought home a graphic novel about it. I didn't read it, but because he I guess he took it back already. It's like, wow, they're making graphic novels about this. Amazing. I was just in high school when it happened. Captain Finity says no time travel. A++. James Caserta says misguided.
Yes, definitely.
And Franco Walker says I gave it a B+, downgraded because of the jailbreak bit. I actually like that part. James Caserta says learn the wrong things from a revisionist history. And Marcelo Lopez says Nemesis of to Nemesis Eden sounds like your teacher was running a Milgram type experiment. Yeah, that was like a real serious experiment. I wonder if she documented it.
I unfortunately do have to tip out. I'm going to be there in about 18 minutes.
Yes.
I'm sorry. If there's anybody in the chat who wants to come up and talk to Jill and help her close this, that would be wonderful. I hate to leave her by her little lonesome.
At this point, the review's over, so I can put the link in the chat.
I don't want to leave you all by herself. I feel terrible.
Yeah, I don't mind being by myself. Don't worry about it. I'm just going to read the chat and close out.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jill, and goodbye, everybody, and hopefully I'll see you guys tonight.
Yeah, see you soon. Yeah,
thank you. Take care.
I only have 15. Yeah, have a good day. See you later for scanners. And that'll be great.
All right. And congratulations on the 500 subs.
Congratulations on 600 subs.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Take care.
Marcelo. Hello, Marcelo Lopez. Remember that back in the mid-60s, it had just come out into the media about his experiments on compliance. Yeah, anyone with a good mic or internet connection may come on if they want to, but I'll be okay on my own. Nemesis of Eden says, it was a really interesting social experiment. Most people talk big and tough until something bad actually happens. Then they turn into sheeple, just like most people. Marcelo Lopez. Yeah, right. And we saw that during the pandemic too. People went nuts. And it's just a fact. Unfortunate. Marcelo Lopez says, by the way, that is how most corporate culture works. I'm one of those people who would keep quiet, says Franco Walker. And Nemesis the Eden says, thank you for reading my Odyssey. Thank you for sharing it, because it was relevant to this episode. I'm so glad you did share it. Kennedy says, good news, people. If you want to find if you're a rebel or a compliant drone, you're living in the best times. Buckle up. And Marcelo says, well, it was the 60s, and it was incredibly more in people's consciousness. Yes, true. True enough, because it was only 20 so years afterwards. Nemesis of Eden says, most people would, or that's what that experiment and a few other incidents in my life has taught me, to Franco Walker, that most people would keep quiet. The AI show says, that's what I call a fish on another planet episode. This episode, though, took a risk at the time, showing Nazism as a planetary organizing system. It's also a look at the lure of fascism. Thank you, the AI show. Oh, he gives it an A for that. Because, yeah, that's true. It is brave to bring up this topic at this time in the 60s. Maybe they didn't explore it too much, but they did show it. James Caserta says, seems war movies started up in 1946. And Marcella says, Law and Order started doing episodes about 9/11 in 2003. So it didn't stay quiet for long. No, it didn't. But people want to examine the history and figure out what happened and what they want to do about it. Right. And then it's important to remember history, or you're doomed to repeat it. Bird of Prey 5 says, I gave it an A+++ for the quality writing, acting, and special effects. Thank you, Bird of Prey 5. Nemesis of Eden says, have an amazing day, Pop. See you later, buddy. Snartapoopus says, it sometimes takes an effort to watch archival footage of a Nazi party rally without your lizard brain getting a little thrill. Yeah, people did get worked up in those at those speeches. Franco Walker says, anything for a quiet life. Although all through my teens, I was being arrested while out on my bike at night. They would try to pin all sorts of crimes on me. Really? Franco Walker, I didn't know that. That's terrible. You're just riding your bike? Oh my goodness. I'm sorry to hear that. That you were harassed in the middle of the night. Heck. James Caserta says, we're here for you, Jill. Thanks, James. And yeah, and this stream went just fine, except for the part where I slept for 40 minutes at the beginning. So while I wish I had not taken a nap today, I'm so glad that I decided to keep going and have this stream anyway. It went just fine. I think so anyway. And if you did enjoy this episode, please subscribe. I'm pretty sure you are. But if you are, also hit that bell so you know when I'm streaming, because YouTube is not very good at telling you when I am streaming. The AI show says Law and Order did episodes on virtually anything they could get their hands on that was in the news. James Caserta says goodbye to Pop, as does Franco Walker. And Marcelo Lopez says, congrats on 500 subscribers. Thank you. Serna Poopa says, sheeples are delicious. Just saying. And Captain Infinity says, you're all individuals. I'm not, and neither is my wife. You're all individuals. I probably read that wrong. Sorry. Nemesis Eden says, back when the writers had actual experience with the horrors of World War II and the darkness that was inflicted across the world. And Nemesis continues that no one is immune to propaganda. That's true. And so that's why it's important to get varying sources. If you hear something from somebody, don't take it as 100% fact until you've done good outside research on it. Don't just take one person's word for anything. Marcelos Lopez says, I think, however, one area that Star Trek didn't go far enough was exploring the contrast between the US and communism and socialism. And one episode out of the comms and the Yangs. Oh, yeah, I haven't gotten there yet. We haven't gotten there yet. We haven't gotten to the July 4th episode, Omega Glory, just yet. But we will get there, Marcelo. That's a good point. That's another parallel Earth kind of thing. But it's a little bit like a piece of action because they left behind a document. Snortopoopus Cuber says, and the mass effect of uniforms, flags, drumming, marching can be hypnotic. It's true enough. And you do have a good historical perspective on it, Snortopoopus. I'm so happy you were here today. You're like another panel member. And thank you for everyone in the chat today. You've made the stream a lot richer than it would have been without you. Nemesis of Eden says, this has been a lovely stream, Joe. Thank you. Wrinkle Walker says, I stopped going out on my own in my late teens and stopped going out at all in my mid-20s. Snarpoopa says, I think I might reward myself with another nap when the stream ends. I have mad napping skills. Well, I would say that I had great napping skills too, but this time I didn't wake up in time, so I didn't do so well. But I was pretty tired. But that's no excuse for missing my show. So I'm so glad you guys showed up here anyway. Jack Stafford says, you have to Captain, you have a unique perspective on this. Can you go on the panel? Yeah, it will only be like 9 minutes, but you're welcome. Typo, sorry. It was supposed to be awe. My favorite Monty Python joke. Nemesis of Eden says the energy at those rallies are hard to ignore. It is infectious and can resonate and literally change how your mental and physical properties. To Snortopoopus Keeper. That is a fantastically intelligent response to Snorty's point. Don't forget the poll. Oh, right. I forgot the poll, you guys. Thank you, Franco. You're talking to me. I always forget the stinking poll. And I love the poll. Let's see. Here it is. How would you rate Patterns of Force? So 49% give this an A+. Very good. 43% give it a B, 9% a C. So that's really great. Thank you guys for voting in this poll. I'll go ahead and end it because if I don't, I'll forget to end it anyway. And so then I'll copy and paste that down here. And Jack Jill graciously sent me a link, but I'm voluntarily benching today. I did. And in any case, your history knowledge would have been worth it. And Jack Stafford says, thanks for the review on this iconic episode and congrats on the 500 plus subscribers. Vertebrae 5 says, in the Omega Glory, no one left behind any document. They came up with the Constitution on their own. Oh, they see, that's why I guess I have a problem with that episode, because they came up with the Constitution all on their own. How is that possible? Like there's impossible, and there's astronomically impossible. But it's a beautiful thing. I still think it's a funny episode. Thank you, Bird of Prey 5. I misremembered that, and I'm so glad you were here to correct it. Marcelo Lopez says, well, the Ready YouTube algorithm actually notifies you about live streams. Nice. It's easy for me to nap on demand, says Snortopoopus. I don't have to have an alarm clock to wake me up. Or a child. Yeah. A lot of times my children are my alarm clocks. How did you know? James Caserta says, where did they get the Constitution? says Bird Prey 5. Must have been from us somehow. No, Bird is saying that they came up with it themselves. And it's not just the idea of the Constitution, it's word for word. He reads the preamble to the Constitution, we the people, in order to form a more perfect union. I mean, come on, that's so crazy. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Nemesis Eden said Skogly is streaming. Otherwise, I would jump on the panel for a few. Internet isn't so good when two people try to stream simultaneously. Oh, thank you, Nemesis Eden. It's the thought that counts for me. Susan Dolan says to Marcelo Lopez Tail. Franco Walker says, you misquoted the joke anyway. What? Sorry. What joke? To James Caserta, parallel development. Yeah, okay, that's their. Well, okay, fair enough. Harvey's containment field is being serviced. He's watching ESB right now, so he's distracted. God, I've been talking and I've been on mute this entire time. So how long was I on mute? I did it again, guys. That's what I do when I'm by myself. I mute and nobody's here to tell me. And so Bird of Prey 5 says, in the Mega Glory, no one left behind any document. They came up with the Constitution on their own. And actually, the YouTube notifies you about the live streams. Only for a few seconds, says Marcelo. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Marcelo. Okay, so yeah, so Nemesis says Skogly streaming or he'd be here. So I really appreciate the intent. That's wonderful. And I'm glad you're there with Skogly. He needs a company. Harvey's containment field is being serviced. He's watching ESB right now, so he's distracted. So yes, it's not Friday today. I've made that mistake on the Tuesday show before because I stream on both days. But if you want to check out Friday Night Frolics on Overlord DVD's channel, that's where to go. And tomorrow he has his pop culture breakdown where he'll be reviewing Bad News Bears, the original, not the remake. And Snortopoopas says, a constitution complete with original handwriting. Mm-hmm. Yep. And hello to Jim's Landscape. He's here? Oh, yeah, he is here. Hello, Jim's Landscape. LLC, #1 Commodore Productions. He says hello. Captain Infinity says, I think I got the essence of it, Franco. Marcelo says, we, the people. In order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. But I'll be saying that again when we do review Omega Glory. And I thank my childhood influence of Schoolhouse Rock for being able to memorize that. It's stuck in my head forever. But for some people, they got it stuck in their head because of the Omega Glory. Damn it, Franco, says Jim. Damn it, Jim. Franco Walker says, this is so my wife's bit from the end of the film when they are all on the crosses. Oh, okay. Hail, Bird, Prey 5. And so this is the part where I'm muted for just a few seconds. So it wasn't as bad as the time. I muted for 5 seconds this time. Last time I muted for 5 minutes. So I'm not so upset. Snortopoopas says, I love history in school and I majored in it at university, mostly ancient and medieval. Wow, Snortopoopas, I didn't know that. thank you so much for being here today to impart your wisdom about it. Yeah, so just 5 seconds. We're all good. Of course, always enjoy being on a stream with you, Jill, rare as it is. Yeah, me too. Maybe an alternate reality. And Bird of Prey 5 says, wow. So that's what we have here today. And next week, I'd love to actually hang out with you a bit more because I could read from These Are the Voyages, but y'all guys can do that yourself. You can go read These Are the Voyages at archive.org if you get a chance to check it out from their library. It has more stuff about this episode. But for me, I have to be going now to take care of my children. They need me. And Snarpoopa says, good memory. I'm lucky if I could remember my home address. If you fall asleep, we'll wake you up. Thank you, James. Damn it, Jill. Why can't you get other people to help you on your panel? No, I did, Jim. I had Scotty for a little while, but then he had to leave. And then Pop Culture I had for the whole show. He got through the whole review with me. So I wasn't alone for the review. And that's really all I need. So I got through the review with help. And Pop Culture, he's been with me. He stuck by me since the very beginning of my live stream when we talked about Leonard Nimoy, not Leonard Nimoy, DeForest Kelley. We had a live stream about DeForest Kelley, and then we reviewed the Orville together. So I'm very grateful for his help all of the time. He's great. Marcelo Lopez says, how many alternate realities have we seen on Star Trek over the years? 5 to 6 alternate realities. Well, and then we're just talking about the original series. Frankel Walker says, thank you, Jill. Great stream. This might have been a localized alternate reality. Thank you, chat. Yes, thank you, chat. I echo what Frankel Walker says. He says, take care, everyone, and much love to you all. And Snarpoopa says, take care, every human. And have an amazing rest of your day, Jill. I will see you later for Scanner's review tonight. Yeah, see you later, guys. Next week we have one of my favorite episodes, certainly my favorite season 2 episode. Okay, so definitely everybody knows Devil in the Dark is my favorite, but this has to be top 10. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not gonna be able to. It's gonna reflect in my review pretty instantly once we begin next week. That Ultimate Computer is one of my favorites. Talking down a computer is one of my favorite Kirk tropes, and this has to be my favorite out of all of them. So Nemesis Feeden says, stay amazing, you beautiful beings, everyone. Yeah. So I'll leave you guys with the preview for the Ultimate Computer. Such a great episode. I'm sure I got it here. Oh, you know what? I got this. I'm gonna play this again I forgot to play this video, so I'm gonna play these last two, and then I'll close out, and I'll see you guys next time.
Even historians fail to learn from history.
Yeah, so I forgot to play that one, and then I also forgot to play this one.
Chekhov, take us out of orbit, warp factor 2, and hurry.
And hurry. Well, let's get away. But I'll see you guys next time for the Ultimate Computer. Here's the preview for that. I'll see you guys later.
Captain's log, stardate 4731.3. The M5 Multitronic unit has taken over total control of the Enterprise.
I can't run a starship with 20 crewmen.
The M5 can.
That thing murdered one of my crewmen, and now you tell me you can't turn it off?
Sir, sensors are picking up 4 Federation starships.
Base is firing.
Hit on the Lexington.
We're firing again, sir.
The Excalibur, a direct hit.
The Hood and Potemkin are moving off.
Base is firing, Captain.
Lexington, hit again.
There's your murder charge. Deliberate, calculated. That thing is killing men and women. 4 starships, 1,600 men and women.
It misunderstood.
I believe the only way to stop the Enterprise is to destroy her. Request permission to proceed.
All right, move along. Done. Stop it. Get off of the things. Go outside. Get some food. It's like, you know, it's a time of day where you live. Go do something. Shut up, Snoopy. I don't care. You smoke too much. Let's go. Let's go adventure. Let's go explore.
Chekhov, take us out of orbit, warp factor 2, and hurry.